Making headlines once again, Bitcoin is climbing higher after a number of big names predict the cryptocurrency to reach levels as high as $250,000.
Can someone tell me where the party's at? Make it rain money from the sky, Rory's in the back. In the city when Biddy hitting 250 when Liddy. And if you with me, we did it, yeah, that's a matter of fact. Yeah, ain't no racking racks, we'll be stacking sacks. Where the party at? All week, no sleep, going back to back. Like when that Biddy dip, vroom, vroom, run it back. Weak has no chance, won't make it. Money dance when we're dead, better shake it. We old, never sold, we faithful. Now the party's a fairy tale. Can someone tell me where the party's at? Make it rain money from the sky, Rory's in the back. In the city when Biddy hitting 250 when Liddy. And if you with me, we did it, yeah, that's a matter of fact. That's a matter of fact. Yeah, that's a matter of fact.
News just in, Bitcoin after party is going to be f***ing wild!
See you in New York City, baby.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome. It is 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and I know it's been a while since I've been live. It's been very sporadic. I'm very well aware. Unfortunately, my vertigo, I've done just about everything, and it still just comes and goes. And the more I talk, the worse it gets. So I've just been trying to stay quiet. Hopefully, my voice can be heard loud enough. And I've actually, because of my vertigo and because I still want to build on what I've been doing and really kind of help educate people, I have launched the Crypto Crow newsletter on Substack. And there's a link in Super Chat. There's a link in the description below. It is a paid newsletter because I really want to turn this into something that I'm doing long after YouTube, and it's going to be a great way for you guys to start being able to keep in touch and read my latest goings on, because I definitely plan on publishing deep dive reviews into all sorts of projects, guides, all kinds of stuff that I'm sure is going to help you make your way in 2021 and beyond. So check it out. And this video is actually going to be very serious. This isn't a joke video. It's not a clickbait video. As a matter of fact, I'm going to show you a picture of something, and you're going to realize very quickly that there's opportunity abound in the cryptocurrency space right now. Right now, even if you're late to the game, even if you watch this video a month or 2 months from now, you're going to see that you're still in the game. You're literally still in the game. And so let's go ahead and get started. Now, make sure you sign up for my newsletter because it is important and I do want to build it. And if you like what you read in there, make sure you share it around and bring some people in. So I'm going to show you basically, this first image I'm going to show you is some bait. It's to let you know that this is for real. Here it is. Make $1 million in this bull market. Now, back on January 2nd of 2018, if you held 746,268 ADA, you'd have been a millionaire. If you would have exited, of course, but you would have been a millionaire. Because if you would have bought those coins just 41 days prior, okay, we're talking less than 2 months, a month and a half, 41 days. If you would have bought those on November 5th of 2017 at just 3 cents, you'd have basically become a millionaire for not even $23,000. Okay, that's a 4,815% gain in 41 days. Now, for those of you guys that are out there, you're thinking, oh yeah, but everything crashed after that. Doesn't matter. There are a lot of millionaires that were established in the 2017 bull market, specifically because of the altcoin blow off top after Bitcoin. Now, if you're just now getting into the crypto space and you still don't yet understand a lot of it, the very idea is Bitcoin typically leads the charge, okay? Because new money generally goes into Bitcoin first and or Ethereum. That money is then invested into altcoins, all right? Now, the same boat's true at the peak of a market. Bitcoin generally seems to peak first, with profits from the Bitcoin peak going into one big last hoorah in the altcoin space, what I consider a blow off top. You hear blow off top being mentioned a lot for various reasons, but to me, the altcoin market peaking is the official blow off top prior to seeing the market reverse into a crash, okay? Or as we enter the bear market, where basically everything has been exhausted. Now, if you're watching this video, it's likely that maybe you're looking to invest in some crypto projects, and I'm basically going to fill you in on a lot of stuff that I think you need to really consider if you're looking at investing into cryptocurrency, okay? Because there's so much opportunity to gain, but it's just as easy, if not easier now, to lose, okay? Now, you know, if right now, Cardano itself is trading at about $1.33, which is its original all-time high back in January of 2018. So we've met that again. Everybody, or so many people thought was never going to happen. It was never going to get that high again. You see all these newbies. They don't really know what they're talking about, but they're so passionate. And they think so wholeheartedly that they know what's coming. Even at the peak of this first peak of what I consider to be a two-peak bull market, I posted literally the day on my Twitter, like the first peak is here. And of course I got all kinds of FUD and everybody was just hating, trolling. Oh, Crow, you don't know. I would see a lot of, oh, Crow, I love your content. I love your videos, but I can't agree with you here. And of course, well, I shouldn't say of course, because I'm not always right. I'm always right sometimes, as I like to say. Yeah, I mean, I was accurate. And I think we're heading into the next peak now, which I think is going to be very likely going to start really kicking off here in July. I think July and August are going to be really big months for Cardano because, of course, we're finally looking to see the launch of smart contracts, which I think is going to change the game. But that's not even what this video is about. The point is that in just 41 days in the last peak, Cardano rose 4,815% and made a lot of millionaires very quickly, those that exited. And even though we're currently sitting at our original all-time high now, that doesn't mean that it can't go to $8 to $10 between now and the peak of this next run, okay? So, you know, if you want to calculate that, you figure what's $1 million, divide that by, I don't know, like let's say $8, okay? That's how many tokens you'll need. How much will those tokens cost you right now at $1.33 a piece, even though you could have just accumulated substantially more during this big dip. Now, you know, that is that. Now, this is a list of things that we're going to discuss here in this video. Now, one of the #1 things that I need to address here are the tools, because without proper tools, you're not getting anywhere. You really need to understand what these blockchains are doing, what these cryptocurrencies are doing. You need to understand their metrics, what they mean, why they're valuable, why one project might be better than another. And you really need to understand what a lot of those little tidbits are. Now, one of the programs that I really like to use is this. This is Messari, Messari.io. I will list it in super chat right now. There's no referral link or anything like that. It's just Messari.io. Now you'll see, I can actually expand this quite a bit, but you won't be able to see it. But I can really add to the amount of data that I'm looking at one fell swoop here. But you'll notice there's a lot of stuff, okay? You've got Intel, you've got different sectors, smart contract platforms being one of my favorite. You've got currencies, stable coins, centralized exchanges, DeFi, which is market cap of almost $40 billion. There's just a lot of money in the space. You've got fundamentals, okay? All these different tabs for data, volume, you've got trade volume. The list goes on, okay? You can basically pull together any information you want. But let's say you want to dive deeper into specific coins. Well, then I can go here into all assets, and I can basically make a list of all the tokens that I want the hardcore details on and just slide right down. Let's say that the data that I want isn't in there. Well, then what I can do here, let me open this up a bit. So default market. Once I'm in the default market, I can customize. All right, let's see. Can you see this? Hold on, let me bring this over. Oh, it's not gonna let me. Hold up. Sorry about this. This is the problem with live, but maybe if I make it a little bigger. Well, you can at least get the gist and you can see it a little. But basically, I can pick all the different metrics that I want to show in that chart. All right, so I can say I want to know the change versus Ethereum over a period of time, the change versus Bitcoin over a period of time in terms of price action. I can get into all-time highs and cycle lows, all that data. What was the original all-time high? How long has it been since that date? Where's the price at now? The cycle low, everything. Classification, so the sector, I can go in, oh, it's an advertising token, it's a derivatives token, it's an energy, data management file, anything you want, you can throw that in there. Categories, financial, infrastructure, yada, yada, yada. Market cap data, volume data, supply data, basically everything and anything that you want to know about these particular blockchains, you can make that a condition of the filter, and it keeps going. All right, GitHub data, which is very important. I'm going to get to that. But you definitely want to know who's doing what in terms of GitHub and so forth. Now, that being said, when you're actually looking at this information, you have the current price, you have the price in Ethereum, all that good stuff. But what I always like to look at is the all-time high and then the break-even multiple. So right now, if I were looking at NEO or NEO Gas, its original all-time high was 92 bucks. It's got a 15.7 in terms of break-even multiple, meaning if you bought into the current price and it got back to its original all-time high, you get a 15.7x return on that investment. The problem is that when I'm looking at it, the price up since low is 851%, which is fine, which was over a year ago, but it's not doing all that much at the moment. Okay, especially when you're talking about price action against Ethereum, price action against Bitcoin, so forth and so on. The gap is closing, okay? The gap is closing, but it's closing very slowly. And on top of that, the price is $5.84. Well, you know, that's a big risk for me. And you're not going to easily turn $1 million. You're not going to turn, 10 or 15 grand into $1 million easily with NEO Gas. Because if you're looking at the price action and so forth, there's not even enough volume on NEO itself, I think, at this point, or not volume, but transactions, right? Not a lot has been developed on NEO, and if there is, we haven't heard much about it. I almost consider it not to be a dead project, but a very silent one, which is not so good right now. Okay, now that's just one of the tools. We'll get into some more of the details and the metrics in a little bit, but obviously everybody knows this one. This is CoinMarketCap. And I will throw this in here. Okay, everybody knows CoinMarketCap. It basically lists all the tokens. You can show it based on price, market capitalization, so forth and so on. All right, and break down a lot of data. But those are two that you really want to use. And then another one that I really like is TweetDeck. Because let's say you're actually trying to keep an eye on a particular cryptocurrency project. You want to make sure that the news is good, that it's active with the community and so forth. You can basically add it to TweetDeck and just slide through and see everything going on with your favorite projects. Okay. This is very, very good. I will link this also in Super Chat. All right. And then finally, now there are many, okay, but I just want to list some of the most important ones that I refer to on a fairly regular basis. And obviously I got to go with TradingView. TradingView is basically what's going to allow you to create these kinds of charts if you're looking to get into technical analysis at all, and you want to get an understanding as to what's going on in the market. And on top of that, you can go into well, these are screeners. Let's see, where are ideas, editors picks? Because I have everything set up the way I do, it's a little different. Markets, say. I don't know what happened to the ideas. Well, anyway, if you go to the website, you'll actually be able to find where other technical analysis gurus, they like to share their charting and explain everything and break it all down, and everybody's in a race to try and become the most authoritative technical analysis guru on TradingView. And it has a little bit of a social networking kind of functionality to it, so you can follow your favorite ones and you know, post comments to their technical charts and all that. And it's actually, you can actually learn a hell of a lot. I've referred to it for quite a long time, and I really dig it. So, on that note, let's see here. Yeah. Make sure you join my newsletter. All right, I'm totally shelling my own newsletter. So here we go. So I'm going to look a little deeper here. So we've got some of the tools out of the way that are really important. You know, I've already shown you, you know, how fast Cardano grew, 4,800%. All right. And we're going to basically break some more things down. Now, you've got the tools. Market cap. Market capitalization is ultimately the total market value divided by the number of tokens existing. All right. And this is a big deal because if you're looking at market capitalization, let's go to a screener for, you know what, I want to go to, let's see, we'll just go to all assets. All right, I'm not even sure how much you can see. Like my monitor spans the whole length of this, and I have to make everything much shorter and smaller. How do you sign up for the newsletter? You can click the link I'm going to post in Super Chat right now, and there you go. Look forward to seeing you. So anyway, so when we go into all assets, you can basically set all this. So let's say recorded market cap, you've got the lowest, or you can set it as the highest. Obviously, Bitcoin at $626 billion is the highest. You've got Ethereum in third place. You've got Cardano down here at number 5 with a $41.45 billion market cap. Now, if I take that information, actually we can just go to I always like to use Cardano as an example of things, but you can take this $42 billion and ultimately divide it by the number of Cardano in circulation, and you'll get the current price. Okay, that's basically all market cap is. Now, a lot of people like to say, well, you want to get into cryptocurrency projects when their market caps, excuse me, when their market caps are smaller because they haven't grown, there haven't been a lot of investors in yet, and so forth and so on. And while that's true to some degree, there's a lot more danger there because there's not a lot of investment yet, ultimately because they haven't built much yet, right? Now, when Cardano went up 4,800% in 41 days, it was still pretty much all speculation. I mean, it didn't do anything yet. Even the dataless wallet was kind of garbage. I mean, it was buggy as hell. It locked up. It ran out of sync a lot. I mean, there were just a lot of issues. And believe me when I tell you, the Ethereum bag holders and the Cardano fudders were out there telling everybody in the world exactly how bad it was, okay, trying to make sure everybody stayed away. Didn't work out so well for them. So, you know, when you look at that, use Nomics and look at N04, okay. When you look at this information, you want to try and find crypto projects with, I mean, okay. Overall, the idea behind investing in cryptocurrency is thus, as straight up as I can be. It's insanely dangerous. It's insanely risky. Any cryptocurrency that you buy, and I don't care how big or popular, transparent, the team, it doesn't matter, okay? It does not matter how amazing everything looks on paper. It could still fall apart tomorrow, and that's just the truth. I mean, since 2017, when I got into this space, I've seen so many projects basically rise and fall that you would have expected to change the world. I've seen projects that I've personally believed were absolutely going to change the markets in this way or another, and ultimately they turned out to be a sham, or it turned out to be ran by some crazy person, or like there's just all kinds of stuff. I mean, anything could go wrong. I've been wrong on projects. Now, granted, I was a big proponent of Utrust and Cardano, obviously, Celsius Network, and I've picked a lot of good ones. Theta, Telcoin's even doing really well. But I've also liked some projects that didn't do anything, okay, for various reasons. Bad management, I mean, you name it. Literally anything can happen. So while you can potentially, yes, you could turn turn $24,000 into $1 million in less than 2 months, you can lose it just as quickly if you're not understanding the space, and even if you do understand the space. That is the risk you take. Now, and at the same time, regulations could change tomorrow. Anything can happen at any given moment, and completely drastically change the cryptocurrency space. Now, and it sucks to say that, but it really is the truth. And I've had people say, "Oh, hey Crow, I watched your video from this, back in the day, and I invested in this project because you thought it was cool, and they went belly under and I lost everything. You suck." Okay. I don't know how many times I've said, anytime I like a project, don't buy it because I like it. I could be wrong, right? I'm just some idiot on the interwebs. I'm some old guy. I don't know shit. I know enough to know I don't know shit. So you don't follow me. You don't do what I do. You have to learn how to better yourself, better your own education. That's really what this whole video is about. Now, we're going to go back to this list. Now you understand market cap. The idea behind market cap is you could get into a project with a really low market cap. Let's say they have a market cap of $20 million or something like that. Well, if it goes up to $100 million and you bought in when the market cap was at 20 million, you're going to make a lot of money, okay? So generally speaking, when you're looking at market cap consideration, you're looking at a new cryptocurrency project and you're thinking, how many tokens do they have in supply? What's the current price? How long and how probable do I think this project will rise, okay? That's all that is. And you can tell, you get better estimates as well by looking at volume, all right? Because the volume of a particular asset ultimately tells you how much trading and interest there is in a particular asset. The higher the volume, the higher the liquidity of the project, which you absolutely need to have. This is a point for a little bit later. Well, that's next in line, so we can basically talk about that now. But okay, to give you an example, let's say we'll use Cardano as another example. But if I go to CoinMarketCap and I click on its individual listing, I click on market. These are all the exchange pairs available to Cardano. This is all of the liquidity available for that particular asset, right? There's plenty, there's tons of them. All right, you can even load more apparently. There's over 100. Hell, maybe there's 200. Doesn't really matter. The point is you can trade in and out of Cardano very easily. And if you look at the volume numbers, the volume is really high. Coinbase Exchange, $75 million in daily trade volume on Coinbase. $276 million a day in Cardano is being traded on Binance right now, okay? 13.3% of the total volume of Cardano being traded is happening on Binance. So if you're not in the US and you're not in a restricted country, you've got that liquidity. Now, the thing is that when you're trying to look at a lot of these cryptocurrencies, and all of the markets and stuff that they're available on, if you're seeing that a volume on a cryptocurrency, maybe the crypto is only 2 cents, right? But it's only being traded on one crappy exchange and it's got $5,000 a day in daily trade volume. That coin's not making you rich. That's all there is to it. Because even if you were able to obtain some, you're not going to be able to get out of that position, all right? So the thing of it is some projects, in my opinion, are very poorly managed, or they're cash grabs or whatever, and they don't play the field right. I've invested in projects that I thought were going to be insane and were going to do very well, and I very much like the people that founded them and so forth, but they were simply not interested in taking some of the money that they generated from token sales and the like and putting that into building proper exchange relationships, which means there's no liquidity in the product at all. So even if you bought in super cheap at ICO, IPO, STO, whatever the hell, it doesn't matter if they don't have liquidity on exchanges enabling the public to trade them at will. And if they don't have that, you're not getting out of that position. So it doesn't technically matter if that particular token rose up to $10,000 a token, you bought it at 2 cents, you're never going to be able to sell it anyway. So you want to make sure that you have a high enough volume of trade activity on a number of exchanges that are going to help basically enable you to get in and out of those trades effectively. Because without it, you're stuck and your profits don't mean anything. There's no profit unless you sell. If you can't exit, there's no profit. It's just a number on a piece of paper that doesn't mean diddly squat. Now, moving on. So you got liquidity, we just covered that. Price today versus growth since all-time high or lows and pump and dumps. All right. Now, this is a big deal because what I'll often see is there'll be people, they'll go to like CoinMarketCap and they'll say, oh, what's doing the best right now? What's doing the best over 24 hours? And then they'll see a token. Okay, like I don't know anything about ZenFin Network, but it's up 52% over the last 7 days. That's cool. That's not too shabby, up 15%. It's currently trading at 8 cents. Trade volume's about 12 million a day, which isn't that great, but it's not terrible either. What's this notice? The ZenFin community plans to terminate the contract of ERC20 tokens XDCE on the 31st March 21st. Okay, cool. So you can see a pretty steady rise. You got a big rise up along with everything else in the market. So you know, somewhere around here was the price 12 cents. It looks like it was probably around 14 cents or so. It's hard to get that little thing right at the tip of that bubble. And then it dropped all the way back down to 4 cents and it's currently trading at 8. So, and it's slowly moving back up. That's actually a pretty good sign. What a lot of people seem to look for is they'll see a project and they'll say, oh gosh, look at this, it's up 30%, I gotta buy in, it's on its way up. What they don't realize is it's likely a pump and dump token. It was probably priced out somewhere under a penny. A big community somewhere on Telegram or Reddit or somewhere else decided that they were gonna make this the new pump and dump of the hour or of the day or the week. And ultimately, you've got the leader of that group who buys in first. He promotes that pump to the rest of his community. They drive the price up. Once it reaches a certain point, they'll start to see that the price is stressed, and then they dump it. And they dump it on all the heads of everybody that they're basically campaigning this pump and dump to. And the people that are buying into it don't realize it's a pump and dump. A lot of these people that go out, they'll put articles out there, which is very easy to do. You know, I could put an article of myself right now on Forbes for a couple grand. I mean, it's not difficult at all. It's a part of SEO strategy, for God's sakes. But a lot of people abuse that, trying to pump shit tokens that don't really mean anything or do anything. Which is why I don't, the media to me overall, I just don't pay much attention to because it doesn't mean squat. You can buy just about anything nowadays. So, so when you're looking at this, you basically want to avoid pump and dumps. If you see an insane spike on a day and then a drop right back down, you know that's generally a pump and dump. Now, it also, what you also want to take into consideration is you want to cross-reference that particular token with what's happening with the rest of the market. If the entire market is moving up and comes back down, then you know that this project is moving with the market. It's not an individualized instance of a pump and dump, okay? So you don't want to use these like short-term quick bursts of price activity as a gauge as to whether or not the project is going to be successful or make you a lot of money. Okay, you want to stay away from that kind of mentality because likely you're going to lose. And I see so many people buy into these pump and dumps, not really having a clue what they're doing. And maybe they read something on Facebook or somebody out there is running some sort of little campaign. They got a bunch of people involved agreeing with it. Yes, this is the best thing. They pump it, and then all those same people are the ones dumping it on your face. So be very wary of that. Next in line, GitHub development activity. This is a really big deal. Now, I go back to Masari here, and I'm going to pull up one of my screeners and changing my... hold on, there we go. Screener. We'll just say DeFi coins. That's fine. We'll open up customize. I will pull out. I'll leave the price in there. I'm going to pull out basically everything except GitHub. We'll leave some of that in. Cycle low. I don't care. Break even multiple. I don't care. Up since low. Time since low. Don't care. Sector. I'm not going to worry about. Liquid supply. Basically, I want to show you is the GitHub information. Transactional volume, I'll leave on there. Active addresses, transactions over 24-hour period, I'll leave that. Again, this is Masari.io. I do have a pro account on there. They don't list everything for every token out there, though. So, which you know, I'm kind of wondering why. But here's all the GitHub data. So number of stars, watchers, commits in the last 90 days, 1 year, lines added, lines removed, and there you go. So now I'm going to close that, and boom, this is going to show me GitHub data, and I'll remove this. So here we go. So you got mainframe at the top, Maker, Compound, Meta, Gnosis, AirSwap, and we're going to scroll through here. And here we are. We can see GitHub data, how many stars this project has, watchers, commits, not much. So DeFi isn't, I mean, none of this, there's not much DeFi data. Which one is this one? This has a little bit more data. Gnosis, all right. Reported market cap, $247 million. Current price is 164 bucks. So, I mean, and that's still not much in the grand scheme of things, okay? But that's pretty important data. I mean, because it shows that there's a development team that's actively looking to increase use case, increase performance, you know, increase security, yada, yada, yada. And you can get a pretty good read on what projects are being reported. Now, the only thing about Masari that I don't like, and I will consider this rumored right now because I don't know 100%, but from what I've understood, if you aren't willing to pay so much to Masari, they're not going to list your token metrics, at least not updated ones. Now, I don't know how that works, and there may be some cost because they do run some pretty significant back-end systems, and I'm sure that they probably plug in some sort of API feed. I don't know, okay? And I know that you know, some APIs cost a lot of money. So, sure, I will, Captain Kurt, in just a moment. But you know, it's still one of the best resources for a lot of this kind of information. But don't expect to find it on every token out there because you're not going to, unfortunately. So, GitHub development activity is a big deal. If a project, especially a new project, launches, especially if it's like open source, that sort of thing, and there's just not a lot of development activity on that particular project, I'd probably move on. I would definitely move on. What blockchain? Now, this is important for obvious reasons. Now, when I say what blockchain, scalability, transaction costs, the community, so forth and so on. Now, some of these projects will launch their own blockchain, like Cardano is its own new blockchain. Ethereum is its own new blockchain. There are many others, but this one is mine. And I'm just kidding. So when you're thinking about the use case, what I've been learning over the years is new infrastructures, like new blockchains like Cardano, Ethereum, Bitcoin, stuff like that. Those are the ones that do really well in the grand scheme of things. Why? Because the transactional volume typically runs much, much higher as other tokens are built on those blockchains. So that's not to say that a particular token can't rise up. We see a lot of different projects currently on Cardano or on Ethereum that blow up in value because, you know, there's some DeFi app and people are, you know, making all this token yields before they get rug pulled. But to me, that's one of the most significant use cases for a project. I want to see the technology being moved forward. So I've learned that I really just focus most on new blockchains. I've settled in on Cardano as my primary and my favorite because I just don't, excuse me, I don't personally see anybody competing with that for quite some time. So, That's a big deal. Transaction fees are a big deal. I did a comparison recently where I was looking at transaction fees. I think the average transaction fee on Ethereum is $24. The average transaction fee on Cardano is something like 24 cents. And and I think the average transaction fee on Bitcoin was even more. So when you're breaking down these fees, transactional fees can be very what's the word I'm looking for? Debilitating, in the sense that use cases will suffer if your transaction costs are too high. How many, when you're talking about DeFi, if somebody puts in $1,000, they turn that into 20 grand, they don't care if the transaction fee to cash out is $500, right? But to the normal layman, to the general individual who's only trading 50 or 60 bucks or even 200 bucks, they don't want to spend $75 in a transaction fee to go from one wallet to another. It's insane. And oftentimes when the Ethereum network gets bottlenecked, the transactions take a really long time and they're insanely expensive, because in order to get your transaction to happen sooner than others, you've got to increase your gas, which ultimately increases the transaction fee, right? So when you're trying to think about, growth, use case, you want to think about scalability. You want to think about transaction time, like how many transactions are possible on that particular blockchain per second, per minute. How scalable is this blockchain? Then you dive in deeper to better understand what sort of problems does that blockchain solve. To me, quantum computing is going to be one of the biggest problems we face in the blockchain technology space between now and 2025. And I think that quantum computing, while still in its infancy right now, is going to grow exponentially. Okay, the speed by which this technology continues to enhance itself and get better and more controllable and so forth, I think it's going to get faster and faster. So a lot of these blockchains that are out there right now, I think ultimately they really need to start looking at quantum proofing. I've talked to Charles Hoskinson about it as it relates to, I'm hearing some crazy loud sound out there. I have no idea what it is. But anyway, that's what I'm talking about. When you're talking about scalability, transaction costs, and then obviously community is a big deal. If a particular token is launching on a blockchain that already has a substantial community, that community is going to be much more likely to support that altcoin or whatever that cryptocurrency is and help it grow. Whether it's growing through social media, whether it's growing through use case, so forth and so on. So this is all stuff that you want to think about when you're looking at a new product. Now, the team, history, accolades. Anytime I'm looking at a new cryptocurrency project, especially now, if I'm looking at a DeFi project, I won't touch it. I generally don't touch DeFi anyway, but I will not touch it if the team is not readily available, completely transparent, and willing to reveal themselves. The idea that decentralized finance means having a founding team that doesn't have to disclose who they are because they're trying to thwart regulation, to me is a bullshit cop-out. True DeFi, the technology itself can be decentralized. The nature of the founding team does not mean that the founding team gets to hide in a bunker somewhere and rug pull everybody. Okay, that to me is not what decentralization means. I know that a lot of people hide behind this, but to me, I'm not with it. If I don't know who the hell you are, I'm not putting my money into a project you develop. I don't give a shit how many, what's the word I'm looking for? Audits, security audits or whatever. Okay, that doesn't mean anything to me. If you're hiding, I don't trust you. And I know everybody wants to hide from the United States because of the SEC coming cracking down on people and all that other stuff. I get it, but unfortunately for you, that's just the nature of the game. And I'm not going to sit here and say we don't need regulation. I think we absolutely do. And yeah. That's all there is to it when it comes to that. But a team is a big deal. When you've got somebody like, Alex Mashinsky, voice over IP patent holder, creating an application like Celsius Network, Charles Hoskinson, co-founder of Ethereum, that these guys are legit. That these guys have the means to do what they set out to do. The team is a big deal. I look for, I look for college grads of Ivy League schools, unfortunately, because that does matter. If for any other thing than just to have the proper connections to be able to push a project along, obtain additional funding, whatever the reason is. But I look for accolades and team members. If it's just some guy in his basement talking about, here, I wrote this white paper, and you guys should give me $30 million to launch this. No, it's not happening. But team is a big deal. Use case we already kind of covered, and then staking yield. Now, this is obviously a big deal because, some of these projects, you can buy the token, maybe they go up in value, that's great. Maybe they don't go up in value, but yes, Christian Ruiz, I see you in chat. It's your job to translate this video. So anyway, when you're talking about staking yields, I like proof of stake coins. I like proof of stake, and I like masternodes. I don't currently, yes, I do actually. I have a couple masternodes. I don't know what I'm thinking. I've got a couple, and basically they just passively mint you more tokens. So especially at this point in the market, again, brings me to Cardano. I mean, I can buy Cardano. I stake them on my Daedalus. And by the way, look up Crow and Crow 2 as far as Cardano staking nodes, and delegate your Cardano to my nodes. Mucho appreciated. But yeah, that's a really big thing. I mean, I personally like buying into a token that creates more of the same token over time, because as the price rises, so does my bag. I like the number of coins in my bag rising over time simply because I'm delegating those tokens to support the network and its decentralization. That to me is a big win. So, exit strategy. The Pi cycle top indicator has been a big thing for me. I really think it helped. It's been pretty daggone accurate since inception. I don't fully understand exactly why it's so accurate, but it is. Generally speaking, when the Pi cycle top indicator changes, here I'll show you a crossover. No, that's not it. Let me see here. Here we go. All right, so this here, Pi cycle top indicator for Bitcoin USD. This is it right here. This here, this dotted line, this was the peak of the market. When this crossed up, this was the peak. Now, what generally happens though is that when this peaks, the altcoin markets continue to move up a little bit for a day or two before coming down. In some cases, a couple months, depending on where the market is. But then you see this spread building. We peaked, the orange line came back down, it created this huge spread. We've been moving down now. Granted, this is a weekly chart, but yeah, I mean, when these two cross over again, that'll be the end of the bull market. I mean, that's all there is to it. That to me is going to be the official end of this bull market as a whole. But I believe it's a 2-peak cycle, and we're going to peak up again somewhere probably around 100 grand, maybe more. Could hit 200 grand. I don't really know. But I've done calculations in the past on where I think Bitcoin's going to go overall and what I expect to see. But this is a big indicator for me because so far it's been absolutely insanely accurate. And yeah, I'm pretty happy about that. Here's the other one. This is a 2018 peak. You can see those lines here. That was the peak of the 2018. Very, very accurate. So, you know, that's what I'm keeping my eye on. So when it comes to exit strategy, as I've said many times, you know, and there's a couple other things I'm going to show you here in a minute as well. But ultimately, when it comes to exit strategy, it doesn't matter what you got on paper. If you don't exit that position, it doesn't mean anything. So ultimately, I look to average out of a position over time because especially when the market does peak, we're going to see Bitcoin peak first. We're going to see the altcoins get a rush, a big blow off top likely towards the end. That could last a week, 2 weeks, maybe a few weeks. I'm doubting it'll take that long, but you're going to see prices drastically change in, you know, like the last month of this cycle. So you want to be wary of that. Now, this is Wayback Machine, which is another tool that I use. And I wanted to give you guys an idea as to what to expect, okay, as we continue moving forward in 2021 here. But ultimately, the Wayback Machine will basically show you, right now I've got it pulling up coin market cap in different time periods on different days. And if we look here, this is July 1st of 2017. The price of Bitcoin was $2,480, okay? Now, if we look at December 14th, 2017, it's up $16,477. That's a pretty quick transition, okay, from July 1st to December 14th. All right, we're in a very similar situation right now. Let's just say, oh, it is, according to my clock, is it really? Hold on. Yes, it is. Today is July 1st. So welcome to the beginning of what I believe is going to be a nice, solid uptrend from here. Now, we might get another little bit of a dip or so, but I ultimately think that we're going to see higher highs and higher lows as we continue to move through July. And that's a really good thing. So if you take just July 1st, Bitcoin's price at 2480, and you take it to December of 2017, you're looking at 16,000. Now, look at the rest. You can look at the projects that are in the top 10 even. Monero, BitShares, IOTA, Dash, NEM. Projects you don't even hear much about right now, okay? We just don't see that kind of activity. What's in the top 10 right now, or what was in the top 10 towards the peak of this market? Bitcoin Cash, Ripple, Litecoin, IOTA was still there, Dash, Bitcoin Gold moved up, Monero, NEM moved down to 10th position, pushing everything else down. Look what else was here around this time, December 14th. Cardano was just 13 cents. This is right around the time I did my first video on Cardano. It was 13 cents when I did that first video, and it went all the way up to $1.33 by January, okay? That's what this is for those of you that are just now signing in. 746,268 Cardano on January 2nd of 2018 would have been worth $1 million. And if you had purchased those tokens just 41 days prior on December 25th, 2017 at 3 cents, you would have basically turned $22,388 into $1 million in less than 2 months. That's 4,815% gains in 41 days. And that is absolutely possible right now, over and over and over again. Because quite honestly, folks, we haven't even really started hitting our stride yet for a potential parabolic run up to the peak of this cycle. Some people like Benjamin Cowan say that, hey, I think that this cycle is going to move a little bit slower and it's going to take a little bit longer. He thinks basically looking at things and trends on a logarithmic chart and the overall flow of the market that we're elongating our market cycles. I don't necessarily know if I believe that, because so far I've been pretty good about calling exactly what's going to happen before it happens and when it happens. And I don't necessarily know that that's what's going to happen, you know, at the peak of this market, because there is so much institutional money in the space now, and anything could happen. I believe that towards the end of this year, things are going to get really, really, truly crazy. So I don't really know what to expect overall. Personally, I think that we're going to see some significant crashes, I mean, across the board. But as you know, and I've talked about it in like a previous video, I've also talked about it in my newsletter. I go into the World Economic Forum's, basically there's the 6 cryptocurrencies they endorse, and I kind of go into those a little bit and explain some of the information, and I share some additional metrics to what those tokens are and what that stuff means. So, you know, listen, you know, check out the differences, and you can get a really good idea as to what was hot, how that changes in a very short period of time. Something that's in the bottom, you know, a top 100 coin could rise up into the top 10 the last couple months of the market peak. But the idea is that you're doing your homework. You don't just run out there and you buy something that some YouTuber you watched really loves, or he bought a whole bunch of it and he's swearing that it's going to the moon. He doesn't know what the hell he's talking about, just like I don't. We don't know what the fuck is coming in the future, so you have to play it safe for yourself, knowing everything you do in the cryptocurrency space is a risk. So don't risk your money on things that somebody else is telling you to do. It doesn't matter how knowledgeable you think we are, okay? Truly, each and every one of us You know, everybody knows I'm King Cardano. I love Cardano. I named my cat Cardano. I hold Cardano. I have 2 different delegation nodes. And you know what? Charles Hoskinson could put out a tweet tomorrow saying, all you guys are stupid suckers. I'm going to Tahiti. See you when you're grown. And nothing could happen. Like, it doesn't even matter. I'm not saying he would ever do that. And if he did do that, it's probably to launch some sort of infrastructure in the country. But whatever. I'm just saying you just never know 100% what is coming down the pipe for any given project. So, you know, while you might think that one individual project is worth putting all your eggs in that one particular basket, I don't necessarily recommend that you do that either. Although projects, one thing that I noticed, you know, if I took a list of 35 different projects that I was really in love with back in 2017, and I watched their movement, their price action, their development, everything, honestly, it all basically boiled down to Cardano for me anyway. But so a lot of these projects, even bad projects, are going to get a pump. They're going to get a rise, whether it's from automated bot trading, I mean, whatever the case may be, they're going to get a pump. You're going to see even the shittiest of shit coins get a rise up. So, you know, what do they say? Like in a flood, all boats rise, something like that effect. I don't know. When the money's flooding into the space, all boats are going to get risen. But some of those shittier boats are going to come crashing down to be non-existent after that. And you don't really want to be a part of that. So hopefully this video helps you. Leave your questions in the comments if you'd like. I'll try to answer them as best I can. Again, make sure you join my newsletter. I'm going to link it in the super chat. Again, yeah, I'll link it in the super chat right there, because I am going to start doing some deep dives, and I'm going to be doing some polling. People that are a member of my newsletter, if everybody agrees they want me to dive deep into a particular project and share my thoughts or my perceptions, my opinions, nothing more. My newsletter is not about financial advice. It's absolutely just about educating you on how to educate yourself better. And I do share my opinions and my perceptions, but I never tell you what to buy or sell. That's your job to figure out. So until next time, guys, thanks for joining me. I'm probably going to go crash and cry with vertigo after I eat. So I will see you again soon. Ciao.